and welcome to the NXT review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by WhatCulture. It's a review last night's episode of NXT. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AW Dynamite, AW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett to review last night's NXT, which I genuinely thought was sensational.
Sensational?
Yes.
Sensational.
I'm so excited for NXT Battleground. You're grounded.
Yeah,
there'll be a few of them throughout.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. I'm excited for those on the show. That's not fair. Battleground is a pretty good looking card. Genuinely. Like,
I've got a take on NXT Battleground to come later.
All right, okay. There's the stuff that we love, but then there's the stuff that like normal wrestling fans enjoy as well. Yeah. I think that's a nice split.
I think genuinely a superstar was made on last night's show.
I'm willing to extend that for this week.
And it had the trifecta.
Yeah. So you claimed. I look forward to you revealing to me what those were. This wasn't bad. This had some bad. This episode of television had some bad, but I wouldn't say it was a bad episode of television.
Well, let's get into it because opening the show is the new number one contender for the NXT title, Wilbourn, flanked by the rest of the Renku CC. And this is the bit that I thought, well, throughout this show, arguably, but this was the start of it all. I thought, Jesus, Wilbourn's a superstar. I know there's the whole Randy Orton side of things, but I loved the way they presented this and the sort of fear they put into me of, oh, God, it's all going to be completely undercut by the end of tonight. So Miles grabs the mic, looks great in there, of course, looks very Randy Orton in his early years, actually. And says last week he shocked the damn world to beat 25 of the toughest men across NXT and Evolve and TNA, and he's going to NXT Battleground. You're grounded. But man, look, he acknowledges that he wasn't probably everyone's first pick, second, or even third, but hey, he's used to it. And he says, look, we've danced around this for a while, but I've got a disability. I'm partially deaf. Last week when I eliminated Ethan Page and Sean Spears, I could still hear the fans going crazy, though. But he doesn't want to be known as the deaf kid. He wants to be judged by his ability, not his disability, just like every disabled person. Says he's the underdog, fighting a dominant champion, but he's fighting for all the kids out there with disabilities. He hopes Ober's listening. They didn't give him a shot last week, but look what happened. He's ready to shock the world again. He may be hard of hearing, but at Battleground, he'll hear Mike Rome call him the new NXT champion. Just to pause it there, I don't know whether it was just because I had a bit of a morning with the family. Everything's fine, by the way. But just like a trip with Eric to the hospital, just a precautionary thing, all good. So maybe I was in a weird headspace, or maybe I just genuinely am a fan of Wilbourn and the way this was presented. But I get a bit emotional with this.
Yeah. Well, like, where to start with this? Because this was a money promo for a match in which, like, there is absolutely no doubt of the result. So,
well, unless Dark State get involved.
Well, I suppose so. But then it's not exactly the babyface ascension of this guy on his underdog journey, is it? Like, the underdog did it with the help of a brutal heel stable. That's made it feel weird. No, so he's not going to win the belt. But this is one of those things where it's almost it's a free hit in a sense, because he's going to lose. He's a 1 month pay-per-view opponent, and it's probably in service of this Ren QCC split and all the teasing they're doing with Charlie Dempsey's jealousy and all that kind of stuff. But the reason I say it's a free hit is because you get the opportunity to do maybe 1 or 2 weeks of promo stuff or build stuff. And if it doesn't really take, then nothing was lost.
Exactly, yeah.
And the person was given a slightly raised platform, and they didn't really make the most of it. And it was like, right, back to the drawing board with you, and we'll give the platform to somebody else. But when the person has the raised platform and completely nails it, like knocks it out of the park, golden buzzer, America's Got Talent audition, whatever it is, they then sort of almost make the match or the impending defeat irrelevant. They leave you with something that makes you want to look at what's next. They want
definitely winning the North American title in the next year.
Well, right, like you want to now like shoot them at the moon.
Yeah.
You want to rocket strap them, even if NXT don't want to just yet. This was that for Wilbourn. This was, they've had fun. And we talked about this the other week, actually. They've had fun with his partial deafness, but I think it's been very careful to never be at his expense.
No, he's always like selective hearing when Charlie Dempsey says something or whatever.
Yeah, he kind of wins the bit. And again, you have to assume when you're watching wrestling, especially mainstream TV wrestling, we know this isn't the case all the time, but you have to assume now more than ever, there is a sense of consent. And I appreciate that's a murky one because are you going to say no to your body? It's tricky, but it does always feel like those segments have been written pure heart rule.
Yes.
I would say, for the most part.
There's no malice in it.
I don't think so. This was the week to let him speak presumably from the heart and presumably lean on this part of his life in a way that he wants to, rather than it becoming like this anchor ultimately, or this like singular characteristic. He makes a really good point. And like, I speak from experience, my son's disabled, and there is a thing around, disability in itself gives people this immediate, what's the phrase I'm after? Gives people this immediate like lowering of the person, when in reality, it should be the other way around. And it should be, right, they're not starting from the same start line you are, and yet they're still able to achieve great things in their life. Shouldn't you therefore propel them more?
Yeah.
And the reality is actually somewhere in the middle, because what you really want is normal, whatever normal is.
Yeah.
You kind of want that. And that's what this promo set out to accomplish, and did a far more articulate job than I just did there. Like, because he was selling a title fight, and he was selling the dream that some people might perceive as being unrealistic and impossible, that he sees as like more possible than anybody else. He looks at what he's got as like in actuality, like, I think this is going to propel me further than the rest of you, because it's made me more determined, and it's given me more self-belief and all that sort of stuff. It was spot on. You could as well, and this is important for this Miles Bourne character. I dread the day when they do the NXT test and he has to work 6 months as a heel. But like, you could, from this, like in a year's time, let's say Miles Bourne develops nicely for a year, and we know that the CW are extremely happy with NXT's ratings.
Not surprised with this sort of product.
We know, based on reactions, that a lot of the time, a lot of the NXT stars are aliens to people that just watch main roster WWE. You could lift this in 3 years' time, word for word, when he is like 3 years more experienced, 3 years more of reps of everything, probably a more polished version of it, if you even need that. But you could lift this beat for beat as is like, and that's why I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's like, let's say he's had 6 good months on the main roster. This was not just a practice run for his future NXT aspirations. This was a practice run for like this big babyface breakthrough moment. It was awesome. It was inspiring. It was like borderline goosebumps stuff. And this is not a negative, other than the fact that your eyes kind of were constantly darting towards, everybody else in the NQCC, because Ren and Tavian were buzzing for him.
Absolutely.
And Charlie Dempsey was like, yep, really pleased. Like, I don't see any.
It's going to be so. If the reason he loses against Obafemi is it's probably going to be Charlie Dempsey.
It's going to be related, isn't it? Yeah.
It's going to be such a heartbreaking and enthralling tale.
Yeah.
I love it.
They've got like this NQCC act have now got like there's a beating heart at the middle of it, beyond really good wrestlers. That was about the extent of it, wasn't it? Like, and they were starting to find themselves as individuals in the group, and that was fun. And they've all done that. You can see them, how their personalities have grown within the group. They've boosted each other. There's like, this feels like when the Judgment Day was first clicking. You know, when Dominic joined, and then it was like, as a 4, they were like, there's magic on the table here. You can sense, and it's almost a shame that a split has to happen. You can sense that the magic is just starting to form between the 4, and it's nice.
There's a bit of me that thinks Charlie Dempsey's going to cost him, right, and then be like, let's get rid of him. And I think the other 3 might just go, I'll get rid of you, dickhead.
Yeah, he's out on his ass, because
they're all good people. Tavian Heights is awesome as well.
Yeah, this is babyface the group.
Yeah. And I know it's a trope of NXT, WWE, wrestling in general.
Yeah.
But he is obviously interrupted by, I think, the perfect person in this scenario, Ethan Page.
Yeah.
What a dickhead. He comes out, enough with all this sentimental crap, this invasion crap. What he's proposing is,
partial deafness, bam, not affected.
He says, Miles, you actually might be worse than Ricky Saints, pandering to all these basic civilians. He's going to give him his reality check just like he did to Ricky. Ooh, you won a battle royal on a fluke. A 1 in a million chance thing came true. But he apologizes to the crowd are chanting at Ethan. And he says, I'm sorry, there's no closed captioning here. Just said don't talk about this, or don't let this be. Let me do you a favor. I'll say it real slow so you can read my lips. You can't beat Oba. You're not on his level. You're not on my level. Before you go to NXT Battleground, you're grounded. Battlegrounded. But Mom, before you go and embarrass yourself, I've got a better idea for you. Why don't you prove you actually deserve this opportunity? Put the contendership on the line tonight, right now, against me. And Charlie Dempsey, in his ear, says, "Hey, an opportunity to go toe-to-toe against a former NXT champion." This was my alarm bells ringing. I was like, they're going to give it Ethan Page after all this. Something happened. Is Miles injured or whatever? Was Ethan Page meant to hold on to the ropes? Yeah. And that all got messed up. Regardless. He says, hey, it's a great fight camp, this. Silence all your doubters, especially your biggest one. Doesn't mention who that is. And Bourne's like, yeah, all right. Let's have a bare knuckle fight then. But out comes Ava. She hasn't got the surname. She's Rock's daughter, general manager of NXT. She runs this show. And she says...
The guy from the CW forgot to credit her, obviously, for all of its success.
She says...
absent-minded.
Whoa, sweet child of mine. I don't know if this is a right move for you, Miles, but I can see how confident you are. You want to prove it. So, you know what? I'll allow it. But that match is later, because right now, Charlie, it's your turn. It's him versus Obafemi. I love this opening.
Yeah, just a nice establishment of all the build. This is... to use a fairly sort of recent like-for-like, this is quite a neat and tidy Obafemi side quest in the same way Gunther's was with Pat McAfee. Not so much with the heel babyface stuff. But then, yeah, actually kind of. In that there isn't anyone obviously set up as Obafemi's world title opponent, just as there wasn't anybody that was an obvious follow-on for Gunther. But this is this lovely little... 2-3 week.
Can establish Wesley maybe in the background whilst all this is going on.
Like a thing that's got enough heft to run this match, and then everybody moves on afterwards.
Because I don't think it's going to be a big guy that beats Obafemi. It'll be a sneaky little bastard.
Yeah, I can't call it yet. I don't know who they're lining up.
Or Tony D'Angelo, as it should be.
Well, if he even is around.
Well, he's going to be on the main roster winning the Royal Rumble, probably, if anything.
Straight at the top.
Actually, got time. Put in money in the bank. I haven't won that. But yes, we got the match. Obafemi, Nick's favourite entrance across WrestleMania weekend, your cousin.
And my cousin loves Obafemi on account of the fact that he's seen him twice. Like, he does not watch NXT, and I don't judge him for that.
He should.
I mean, I assume he just keeps up with this podcast.
Yeah.
He will never message me about this podcast. But he's come to the last two Stand and Delivers. And he's
what a
like,
snapshot.
He's like, it's great. Like, see you in a year. Like,
see the best wrestler in the world.
Knows half the rosters, can remember like people what they were up to exactly 12 months ago.
It's going to be there. What's the Obafemi triple threat this year?
It's like sort of, you know what? Like, Sachs offered him the crowbar last year as well. Yes, he did. Like, it all ties together. You just have to wait a year at a time and watch it in America when you're like high on life and drunk on booze.
Yeah.
Drunk on, what is it, that peach iced tea thing.
Oh, Twisted Tea.
Twisted Tea.
I love a Twisted Tea.
Drunk on Twisted Tea at the arena settles, high on life and NXT. And then it's like, right, see you in 12 months.
WrestleMania Saturday. It's the best day of the year.
That's it. The excitement. Like, none of the WrestleMania stuff's happened yet, so the buzz is at a peak. You're excited for next year's NXT, aren't you? Stand in the liver.
Daddy wants to get some beads as well, by the way, in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. But like beads out the ass. Not that kind.
Okay, Obafemi versus Charlie Dempsey. Unsurprisingly.
Well, maybe. Yeah, whatever you're into. Beignet.
Good.
Is that their poutine?
I don't know.
Do I have to eat 4 in a day?
I just know they're infamous for their Popeyes, of course. That's the local delicacy.
Yeah, from the Metro Center to Louisiana.
Obviously, Obafemi destroys Charlie Dempsey, just chucks him all over the place. But Dempsey isn't that kind of a wrestler. He targets an arm and gets some success, manages to ground the big man. He actually got a near fall after a German suplex. Then he put him in a short arm scissors, and I was just like, here we go. And exactly what you expected happened. Femi just powers him up and drops him, makes his comeback, load of uppercuts. Chucks him around again some more and hits the fall from grace, pop-up powerbomb, to get the 1-2-3. All good stuff, this. Fine. Simple, effective.
Yeah, I've said it a million times.
Well sold by Dempsey later. I'm fine.
I'm all right. I've said this on a million podcasts. And Femi's not a traditional straight-up babyface. He's able to lean heel as and when the situation requires a bit. But I like babyface. I've said this a gazillion times. I love babyface champion TV matches. You know, when the champion just like rocks up to work and reminds you why he's the champion. It's one of my favorite little devices on television. A neat 10-minute match where the champion is the best. I always think is pretty good booking in the use of your TV time.
We go to the back, and there's Thea Hale and Carmen Petrovic. Carmen thanks her for what she did for obviously last week with the Jada Parker stuff. And they say, that's what friends are for. Awkward. Because they see Tatum Paxley pitching a fit, I believe is the term, smashing up doll houses and chucking stuff all over the place. And she's obviously, well, she's got no mates. She's lost everyone because they've all been unfortunately released.
Sorry, finish the segment,
and she's taken out on everyone, including Thea Hale and Carmen, who can't believe what they're witnessing here. I don't know why. It's Tatum Paxley. She acts like this when she's happy. She says she's lost everything. She can't take this any longer, and warns Thea or Carmen or both that they're going to leave each other because that's what friends do. They betray each other and leave you all alone, effectively.
I hate so much the treatment of releases when they're like woven into some sort of weird work. There's a lot of W's there. Somewhere, wherever he is this afternoon, Sitch just like a little thing went off. I've got the back of his head or something. Last week, it was, last week we saw the Metaphor breakup. Like, I wonder how Lash Legend are doing. And then like in the background, like some of her friends got released as a shoot. Oh, it's Lash Legend time. Everything is cool in Lash Legend. So I was like, this is a bit off, isn't it? Like
It's a bit later where she was like, here I am with my best mate as always. Not Jakara Jackson. It's Lola Vice, of course.
Here's my Metaphor hanger on it. The Undertaker. Like, so weird and so jarring for like somebody that we've been like encouraged to really love and watch develop. Like, she's got so many of the intangibles, but she's developing the other stuff as well. And it's been so cool to see that. And then all of a sudden you're like, you're kind of being an arsehole about this, Lash. And then Tatum Paxley, the character who has all these like abandonment issues, and then she gets two friends in Gigi Dolin and Shotzi. Lara Valkyria's on the main roster who helps her out sometimes, but they'll probably lean on that as like, well, you left me, you flew away as well, didn't you? You flew the nest, flyer. Get it. Like, they didn't leave you. They were forcibly removed from the place you work because they don't work there no more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't feel good about that. And it's just like, yeah, they're gone, whatever. Like, they don't explain that to the viewer or anything. Like, narratively, in this fictional world, it is such a universe-breaking moment when, like, there isn't a film or television example where a character, not that I can think of, where a character has left the show for, like, contractual reasons, and then they choose to write them out in this manner, where they simply do not tell you why that character has disappeared, but the existing characters react to it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, if that was to happen, like, let's say an actor falls out with a studio or whatever, and then they're in it for half of it and then they're gone, or it's a TV show and they're in it for some of the run, and then, like, it's almost suspicious that the characters, like, move on as fast as they do. Like, one might say, like, yeah, they moved off to Vermont to help their grandma. What? Anyway, life and then like, that character's dead to them. Then they're never like, she is wounded, affected. She turned heel tonight off the significant changes of this. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense, and it's a little bit crass.
It is, but the one defense I will give, and maybe this is because it's my beloved NXT, is maybe it wasn't their call. Like, it didn't seem like they were writing them to be written out. Do you know what I mean?
No,
you know, like sometimes you see people on the main roster and they're just losing in like 2 minutes. And you're like, you know, it's sort of May time again, or when it used to be. The
sense that Shawn Michaels gets some surprises sometimes.
Yeah,
I don't call-ups and
I don't think. Certainly don't think, nothing against Shotzi, but I don't think Gigi Dolin would have been one of those names that he'd been like, yeah, let's get rid of her. She's always had so much potential. And I feel like, you know, she's had injuries and stuff like that, but. So maybe that's their reason. Or maybe it's just like, well, Tatum's crazy, so she wouldn't even understand that they haven't betrayed you. They just aren't allowed to work here anymore. But it didn't sit quite right with me.
There was one sort of final point on the performances as well, and this was a bit of a theme on this entire show. Sidgwick has lamented the lack of real 2.0 feeling stuff in the NXT world of late. Well, this episode was not short of it. And
that's why I liked it so much.
When you give the performers kindergarten material, they have to act like kindergartners, and there was loads of this on this show.
What's wrong with you?
You got any empathy, Thea? Yeah, I can get there. The acting on the show was atrocious, end to end, multiple segments. I'll try and remember all of them to highlight, but then fair play, because it's a stupid backstage segment school as much as it's a wrestling school, isn't it? So go and do that as well.
Wrestling, baby.
I don't mind this. It's a criticism in terms of the quality, but it's not in terms of actually us getting to see it.
Than I'm going to kick your ass out there. Well, I'm going to kick your ass out there.
I will take 10 segments of wrestlers having no idea what faces to pull of the frigging Death Riders sitting in the dark. Don't go in here. We're keeping the vibe, smelling of business. Don't come in. John, you're in the main event against Joe. We're doing darkness meditation. Close the door.
Ricky Saints walks up to Ethan Page and says, "You love pissing on people's chips, don't you?" Or raining on people's parades, whatever they say over there.
You love pissing in the Death Riders toilet, don't you?
Ethan says, "I do. I also take immense pleasure from taking people's moments. I'm going to restore balance back to NXT, win the title, and become what I was." And Ricky just sort of says, "Yeah, good luck with that."
I mean, ultimately, they paid this off in the absolute last seconds of the show. And I was kind of into that as far as Tuesday night events went. So, I don't mind saving things to the very, 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 very end. So I was in kind of celebratory mood. But by the time this show concluded, I was buzzing. I was really happy.
When we should talk about this.
Talk about what, Wilbourn?
Well, now you've said it, we have to do the old, where is it? Soccer, football, tangent.
Well, is it a soccer tangent? Because I sometimes feel like an interested observer when you and Sidge have your soccer tangent. Because there's a bit of tactical analysis. There's clearly baked in knowledge of the potential of how certain players might perform and all that kind of stuff. I can't really offer you that because I think, as we discussed the other day, I kind of don't really like football. And yet technically it created a core memory between me, my brother and my children last night.
I was so happy.
I have to technically, by the letter of the law, credit the game of football. Even though I love Sunderland more than I love football.
Just like you remember.
It was football, just like you remember it. Yeah, I don't really like football.
What football's become.
Yeah. What has it become? I don't fucking know. That is why when we play at Wembley, I can't even go.
Yes.
Yeah, my kids will never watch this for a multitude of reasons. But so I can say this. I said it to you the other day. I think I've said it probably on another podcast. Brutal pragmatism, I don't want to get promoted. The Premier League is hell. It's absolute hell. The last 2 or 3.
I remember Sky Sports calling it that.
No, funny that, innit?
They call it the biggest game in football.
They sure do. The last 2 seasons in a row, maybe 3, the promoted clubs have gone straight back down.
Good.
With real low points as well. It's not like they've gone down swinging.
Nope.
And the gap.
Used to be you had to get to 40 points in the Prem to be safe.
Yeah. Now Man United still playing for 40.
I think so. I don't think.
Yeah, that's a crazy.
Well, that's not the real quiz. Is of course the Europa League. So
yeah, we all know that. Whatever the gulf was, it's only getting bigger. And there's this whole sort of reconciling that a lot of people make of if you support teams of. I was going to say,
they're neither Spurs or United are on 40 points yet.
Do you know in 1997 we got relegated with 40 points? That's one of them weird bits of trivia.
23 would keep you up right now.
That is a piss poor. That is pathetic.
Actually, 22 would keep you up considering the goal
So
difference.
poor.
They've got a minus 42 goal difference. The best of the relegated teams.
Huge gulf, enormous gulf, and I don't necessarily want that. And the sad thing is, my kids don't know they don't want that.
Yeah,
my kids want to see Sunderland in the Premier League for the first time. They want to see Sunderland players and the cards and the stickers that they get at the start of every season. FIFA, moving into the Premier League sort of section of the teams. There are so many, and I remember this. I was 10 years old when Sunderland got promoted to the Premier League. It was the 95, 96 season, I think it was, or 94, 95, whatever. And it was amazing. It was and I remember the sticker albums specifically. But so all that stuff was really, really cool. And we got relegated, but we did go down with a fight. I love this team, and I have loved this season in particular, going with the kids. And a little bit into the prior seasons, a couple of seasons back when Tony Mowbray's style of football kind of brought a bit of magic back. But certainly this season with the kids, who have really got the bug massively. And as a result, they'll start asking before I thought about this upcoming Saturday. And it's like, right, all right, let's go to the game. And I love it for them. One day they'll hate me for it.
Yep.
Sorry, kids. But last night, cliche.
People are unaware, by the way.
So last night, in the playoffs, I won't even pretend they're as entertaining as the basketball ones normally.
Yeah, they're not best of 7.
Until last night, when they became the most entertaining thing in the world. Sunderland got a late goal. I won't bore you with all the details, but ultimately that late goal saw Sunderland reach the playoff finals at Wembley Stadium, side of SummerSlam and All In.
The last head of the game, as people were saying.
That is the last head of the game. Dan Ballard. Dan Ballard, who is a defender who got 20 successful headed clearances in the first leg and something like 15 headed clearances in the second leg.
Unreal.
So the man of both matches. And then he scores the winner with a header as a bunch of people upload phone videos, and there's hours since being they're going Dan Ballard on his head or whatever, and then he scores. Yeah. I can't even believe it! They've predicted
limbs.
Yeah, and it was absolutely. I've scraped my knees up against the seat because everybody was jumping around all over. I nearly knocked one of my kids over. Joshua was going insane. Charlie needed a minute. It was all a bit much. It was really super, super emotional. Proper last kick of the game. If you look at the, it's 20, it was 3 minutes of injury time or something, and it's 1, 2, 2 and 59 seconds.
It's literally, yeah.
And our campaign for this has been till the end, as in you play till the end. If you go out last night, then you go out. If you go out at Wembley, you go out, but you play till the end. And then this happens, and it's that's finishing the story, so that's pro wrestling, baby. It was super emotional, and I'm so glad I went, and it was football gave me that, and it's a lot of people are calling it the greatest moment in the history of the stadium. There's been some big wins over Newcastle. There's been a couple of sort of cup semi-final or playoff semi-final moments that have been similar to that. But the timing of the goal. Kevin Phillips was doing the punditry for Sky last night, and he scored in one of the last prior. Is this the best night in the history of the stadium? And he's I'm pretty sure this topped it.
Yeah, I was watching the whole thing for you. Just as I watched the Newcastle League Cup final for Sidge. Mm-hmm. And I'm not one of those fans, unless you're a Mansfield fan. I'm not one of those fans who takes great pleasure in other teams, like my friends' teams losing. Yeah. Funny for a bit of banter, but generally I'm oh no, just a nice moment for them. I text you after it happened. What a lovely moment for you and your sons to have that moment with their dad and their uncle that'll live with them forever, regardless of what happens.
One of my adopted sons, Ahmad Diallo,
of course,
made the trip up to watch it. Stuff like that's lush.
Yeah,
stuff like that is lush. A lone player that just loved it enough that is I kind of want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
That's not there's not much real in football anymore, is there? There's not a lot and that's not real. I'm sure he was paid a handsome fee to be this is going to really help from a PR point of view. Yeah. But it was a nice thing all the same. It was nice on top of nice on top of nice.
And Anne Louise was why are you getting so excited? You don't support any of these teams. I'm yeah, but it's class, isn't it?
Yeah.
Football.
We've got some Coventry fans who were sort of in my mentions, in my tweets, and my what's the word?
Condolences?
Condolences to you for that.
Commiserations.
Commiserations, not to the ones who bought those Wembley Again 2025 t-shirts, or to Frank Lampard, who called the last win of the season over Middlesbrough. Well, that's our quarter-final. So I felt like you were looking bastards. Not to them, but to the rest. That's football. You will have your day again. We've had plenty of those awful days as well. You can see loads of them in Super HD on Netflix.
Yes.
It's rubbish more.
Ever since they stopped doing the documentary, have you got good?
Yeah. It's rubbish more than you can speak to this as a Chesterfield fan. It's rubbish more than it's good, which is why the good has to be 10 times the
I think it's sweeter for us, generally.
We have to say that a bit, don't we?
Yeah. Obviously, I'd love to be Matt Rains and watching my team win the Premier League, Champions League and all that sort of thing. But, it is... Sometimes it's I've suffered through all this so I can watch us win the Johnson's Paint Trophy, for example, or stay up on the last day of the season. I still remember being in Saltergate when we did that. Or overturning a 2-0 deficit to Walsall in the second leg on Friday night.
Fingers crossed.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Fingers crossed.
We ain't got Dan Ballard.
Which is the exact emoji I used when my brother-in-law, a Walsall fan, texted me saying, amazing, hope we can complete the job against Chesterfield. And I went, fingers crossed. And then I went, because I'm lying, because I want Chesterfield to win, Neil. What a twist it turns out he watches. He's like, I saw that. Hey? Straight in my WhatsApps.
More talk on, obviously, if you're wondering, well, this is, you get back to NXT. More Chesterfield chat on Friday on the SmackDown preview. But Absolutely. For now, this has been the football tangent. And what a wonderful night for Sunderland. Let's just hope, nothing ruins that in the coming, 45 minutes.
I think
right. Then we got Wesley of the High Rise.
High Rise.
Already love that name.
It's a building.
Spelled with a way.
It was. I did like that. That's a bit attitude.
Y and a Z, I think.
I was going to say a Y and a Z.
But I like this trio of Lee, DuPont, and Tariq Igwe. Another reason why I think Wesley could be required to get the title off Oba, because you've got two massive class lads in your corner.
Yeah.
But it was Wesley against Tony D'Angelo, who is oven ready for the main roster for me.
How do you feel about that?
There was a bit watching this match. I like him here. This is where it's all been for me.
Literally, it's been 4 years.
Yes. But it's tinged with, could all be over in 6 months. But there's a bit of me that's like, let's see what happens. Because I thought in here, he looked massive, obviously, against Wesley. But I was watching it, and I was in the back of my mind, I've had this, for quite a few weeks, months now. I was watching it, I was like, he's got a bit about him. Like like some people move up and you're like, right, okay, you're a talented guy from NXT. And it's just like really talented individuals, but they're just another talented person in that locker room.
Yeah.
I was like, you've got that. You're a mafia guy, right? I assume they'll keep that.
Yeah.
So that opens it up to any possibilities with any old bollocks or that sort of thing if they want to have a bit of fun with it and expand it or reunite the D'Angelo family or whatever you want to do. And he's got the moveset, like the bit he caught Wesley early on and he caught him and I was like, okay, suplex or whatever he was going to do. And he just starts digging him into the ribs and what have you. And he's got that awesome spine buster as a finish.
Yeah. He's in the best shape he's ever been in. He's got a lot more snap. Good snap.
He's got a great snap.
Is Tony D'Angelo on account of 4 years in this version of NXT, right, where he's working all the time? Is he one of, in this 2025 wrestling landscape, one of the wrestlers that gets the elusive thing known as reps? Have we actually watched him improve in an environment where it is safe to improve?
Yes.
Yeah,
maybe.
He came on enough that at Stand and Deliver 2024, he could justifiably main event and not look completely out. That's the best match he's ever had, and that's, come on, that's an Ilya Dragunov deal. But had he have won that night and it was part of Ilya's call-up, leave it, it would have been fine. It would have been actually, I buy you now as an NXT champion.
I'd have retired on the spot.
You call it a day, he's done.
Thank you very much, everyone. See you later. Where's those checks coming from now? Let's hope those cameos come in.
Tony D said he sought me out. I'm beholden to the mafia. But a year has passed and he has gotten better. You can see visible and obvious improvement.
Before we go to a break, Lee took a hip toss over the ropes, gets caught by DuPont and Igwe, who keep interfering, by the way, trying to trip up the Don and what have you. So he does a high cross off the apron onto all three of them. But the heels take advantage of the numbers game during the break, and we come back, and Wesley's in control. But then he gets in D'Angelo's face and taunts him about the family, saying he's going to lose them, and puts over Stacks. And as he's doing that, goozled by Tony D'Angelo, who hits him with headbutts and beats him up. Wesley tumbles out of the ring. Tony goes after him, throws Wes into Tyson and Tyreek, and clotheslines the two of them. Wesley gets back in the ring, though, and catches Tony as he comes back in with a roll-up, puts his feet on the ropes, but Tony D kicks out, catches Wesley coming off the ropes with a belly-to-belly, some clotheslines, choke slam, a release German, big power slam for a near fall, tries for the spine buster, but Wesley counters that with a Rana. Kicks him in the head, goes for the cardiac kick, but that gets countered by Tony D with a spear. Looked a rough old landing for Wesley, that did. He's got the match won. He's going to hit him with the spine buster and get the 1, 2, 3, but who should appear on the Tron? But Stacks, who is, where else but at the Riz's safe house. That distracts Tony D. And Lee hits him with a cardiac kick to get the 1, 2, 3. And as Wesley is announced as winner of the match and his arm is raised, Tony D sort of wakes up and can still see Stacks talking on the video screen, saying he's going to pay Rizzo a visit. And Tony D rushes out, and we subsequently see him jumping in the back of a car driven by one of his boys to head off to the safe house.
I mean, we know that Stacks is evil on account of his beard.
Yes, beard, hat.
Beard and hat.
It's clipping on the back of the head a little bit too hard last week.
He packs a wallop to his old Stacksy. You know what, as well, the thing about Stacks is, like, I've come to know him quite well. Like, I would never, but let's just say hypothetically once, like, a receipt came his way, I think he would lose it. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I really would as well, mate.
I think that would go horribly if I return the favour.
The mask might slip somewhat.
Imagine how high profile a spot that could be. Imagine if it was like, you know when Stacks sometimes pops into the live shows? When sometimes Stacks even does the What Went Downs. Like, just imagine if I pulled a receipt out of my pocket. Just a bit of fun between friends, podcast of friends. Imagine how that might go down. Let's leave that one for another day.
Maybe not.
LTST. No. Stacks is gone real bad. And his wrestling's dumb, isn't it? Because, like, he's literally, it's not sort of one of them things where, like, he's in a car and he's got, like, the sat-nav up and he's like, what's this address I'm typing in, Dawn? And it's Riz's and he's on his way. And then Tony's like, oh no, I need to get to my car and catch up with him. He's in the drive. Like, Tony, you can run as fast as you want, mate. You can charter 3 cars in a helicopter. I'm pretty sure Stacks is going to make it those 4 steps up that drive before you get there. Yep. But, you know, mind games, isn't it?
More on that later. What are the rules on, you know, I've got quite a good contact with Stacks. Mm-hmm. The rules on setting up a cameo that's like $500 per cameo for a Stacks cameo where he just slags people off, because he popped on some of mine when when he was a good guy. You
could do whatever you want, because obviously he pops into yours, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I would
fairly certain I can't advertise. I'm getting Stacks on.
I would warn Stacks, especially here in the UK, of something that, for the benefit of this, I will refer to as the Stacks tax. Where if Stacks charged $500.
Oh, yeah.
Stacks would pretty quickly cross the tax threshold, the stacks threshold, whereby he'd have earned far too much.
Worms, that, isn't it?
It is. But then having said that, he's an independent contractor, so that's how all of his work. And then he just does his taxes independent of all this. Tell him to go for it.
In the meantime, Michael Hamflett and Adam Wilbourn on Cameo.
We are available on Cameo. It depends what you're after. You could be after like a visit from Stacks. You could be after a diagnosis from Dr. Fed. Birthdays, anniversaries, bar mitzvahs, different needs.
Yeah.
All on Cameo. Do it on your laptop through the browser. Otherwise, everybody's taking a piece of the pie.
Yeah, don't go through the app because Apple takes a cut then. So, yeah.
Is that right?
I think so.
I did. Like, laptop or desktop on the browser, search for us. On the phone, like search for Maury or something. But, like just...
We need a catchphrase. You know, like remember the 10th of May.
Yeah, which everybody did.
Yeah.
So that's stuff. We'll work on a Cameo one, yeah. We'll give some...
We'll come back to it. We get an OTM.
App is crap. West Texas Rednecks.
Yeah.
App is crap. And that's your message.
Wowzer the browser.
I was going to say the West Texas Fednecks.
Oh, okay.
But wowzer the browser. That's wowzer for your browser, because the app is crap.
If you like this sort of thing, we'll do more of it on the SmackDown preview, obviously.
It's what we've always said. Yeah, write both of those down.
Okay. I won't. There's an OTM vignette.
Just remember the words.
I'm going, why are we seeing so much of OTM in these vignettes? It all comes together. It's an intricate web that Ava weaves.
Web we weave.
NXT Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer heads to the ring. She says last week Jordan Grace became the #1 contender. I have respect for Jordan's journey. She's at the top of TNA now. She wants to stand at the top of NXT. She yells in Spanish, which the crowd obviously love, and she's interrupted by 2 members of Fatal Influence. Not there was Jasmine Nix. Hope everything's all right there. She was joined by former North American champion Fallon Henley and JC Jane. I'll tell you what, wait, I think, right, behind the curtain here. Adam Nicholas, good guy that he is. He's not feeling too well. So he's producing us from the other room. From the other room. And I believe he might have missed cutting to you on the camera. So I'll say that again.
Who was it? I've forgotten.
It was Fatal Influence. So no Jasmine Nix, but there was Fallon Henley and JC Jane.
Put a little wah-wah on it there.
Yeah. Fallon Henley says it must be nice to be on top of the world. Everyone and their mom loves Stephanie. You've been on top ever since you got here. You truly are one of a kind, but that's what's going to make your downfall so much sweeter. Of course, you were the infamous double champion, NXT Women's Champion and NXT Women's North American Champion. I'm going to stop you there, says JC James.
Shut up, Fallon.
Because, you and Fallon must know what it's like to win that championship. Me, I can't relate to that. But you did pin Fallon to take it off. Do you remember that? And Fallon's like, well, she also beat Julia to become NXT Women's Champion. So what's your point, JC? JC's like, my point is, I don't think it's going to last that much longer. And Fallon's like, well, I agree with you there. So, okay, fair enough. You see, says JC Jane, NXT is Fatal Influence's world. A world you don't belong in. Think about it. How ironic would it be? Alanis Morissette, the whole... I think that's ironic. If we were going to take that title off your hands. Not ironic, is it?
I'm here to remind you
of
the mess you'll leave when you go away, because they're going to be stuck with us.
Out comes Jordan Grace.
Everyone keeps getting called up with me.
And, who could have called this? Oh, you two, yesterday. Grace basically says, you two can't even get out of each other's way. I don't know why you're talking about the NXT Women's title. I'm here to protect my investment, my opportunity. Steph's like, well, I'm not your investment, but okay. JC says, look, I flip friendships. I turn this division upside down. I kick someone's head through a door. She didn't say that part. Fallon's like, well, that's in the past. I do quite like this splintering of the group.
They hate each other.
Yeah. JC says, whilst you, Jordan Grace, and Stephanie Vaquer were collecting stamps on your passports, me and Fallon were turning things upside down. It's like every now and again, they're about to hit each other, and they're like, you all right, you? Yeah, we're class, aren't we? I mean, I'm better, but,
They've got so... I don't know if this is a bug or a feature. They've got so few achievements to lean on that they just have to say things like, we turn NXT upside down. We run roughshod. Yeah. You do anything. We constantly lose. Like, it's just...
Fallon Henley, who wasn't in the original group, is the only person who's won something. But Stephanie says, look, Jordan failed last time. She's going to fail again. But Grace says, look, a lot can happen in a year. I'm going to win the title. And nothing, especially not Fatal Influence, is going to stop me. I'm going to make sure, basically, Stephanie Vaquer is ready for me at NXT Battleground. You're grounded. Battlegrounded, but mine. JC says, whoever wins will be waiting. Really? This is to set up a tag match to close out this show. A really good tag match to close out this show.
I enjoyed the tag match a great deal, actually, yeah. But the it was cheesy nonsense, all of this. I like the Stephanie Vaquer portion. I like that she's trusted.
Stephanie Vaquer, Jordan Grace is huge.
It's a big match. It's the main event, I think, of Battleground. I think it should be anyway. Maybe they'll go with Hendry and Trick, actually, because of the historical element of it. But I would go with Stephanie and Jordan. And I like that you don't need to fake, you don't need to build up the match or cut promos with just platitudes and lies and wrestler speak, carny stuff. It is inarguably the biggest and best match in this division. And we're getting it. And we thought we might get it for Stand and Deliver, oi, 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 and we don't. And now they can just outright say it. Like, I'm the best and I've got this belt to prove it. Well, that's where I believe you're wrong. And I've got all this pedigree and background to prove it too. Well, that's interesting. We're probably gonna have to prove this once and for all. Like, like wrestling doesn't always have the benefit of being able to take the path of least resistance. And it's so real feeling that some of the verbiage from Jordan Grace in particular might scan as a little bit cheesy and whatnot, but the sort of the undercurrent is strong. The foundations are rock solid, and that gives it everything it needs.
Charlie Dempsey, who mentioned this earlier, is backstage with the Rank UCC, completely out of it, and Miles Bourne basically tells him, no, you need to go and get checked over by a doctor. Tavian, Ren, take him to the trainer's room. I'm going out there by myself, again, drop my arse a little bit here. I'm going to go take care of business. Yeah. Oh, God.
I was worried.
Yeah.
It's what they want, though.
And then, what's that I see? Oh, two legends are in the building. Bubba Ray Dudley and Undertaker are backstage. What? They're there with Zena Sterling and Tyra May Steele, who are in the LFG final. And
you see at various points there the LFG gimmick on the mic.
Yes, I saw that when Miles Bourne did it.
Like tacit promotion of the show. And
that, like they need to promote it. It's everywhere. Got 500,000 viewers on the online app, apparently. That's what I've heard, according to my reports. Real as anyone else's. They're fighting, for the NFG tournament.
We can all make up 6 figures.
Yeah. Show me the evidence. Where is it, guys? Anyway, only one of them gets an NXT contract and the right to compete and entertain in the best division in the business. Oh, Bobby Ray Dudley said that. And
I mean, folks, where's the lie?
Excuse me, if I may take 6 place for a second, who's Bobby Ray Dudley?
I'm quite excited.
Is he Bobby Ray Dudley?
Yeah. Bobby Belly.
Bobby Belly.
Check out the NXT preview. It's more impenetrable banter.
Audio only, but yes, we shared one of William Regal's favourite comic creations. Probably playing the Pier in Blackpool this weekend.
He says, I'm sure Take will back me up. You're going to have a bullseye on your back. In walks best friends.
Say, before the Undertaker can get a word in, here comes the rest of the women's division. Shut up, Take! Shut the up, old timer!
I got it from here. Then it's time for the best friends to show up. That is, of course, Easy Dame and Nikita Lyons. Nikita Lyons was quite reserved here, I thought.
She only pulled like 4 faces.
Yeah.
Whoa.
They wish him good luck lasting in this locker room. And then, in comes Lash Legend and Lola Vice, best mates. They're going to make the wish you're on next season of NXT. Not a great put down, again.
No.
I'm going to make you look like Ellsworth, might as well have said.
These call-ups don't even remember their glasses.
Take says, hey, whoever wins going to have their work cut out for him.
You know the ones in the kitchen? Were they there the whole time?
No, they came in. I noticed it as well. What have you got? Because I think I rewound it because I'm fairly certain I thought initially it was going to be like, the LFG people in there and Bobby Ray Dudley and Undertaker.
Bubbly Ray.
And then after a split second thought they might have just gone, oh, and here's Nikita Lyons. Hello. I was just getting something from this.
I was going to say, I bet you can do this. Have you got like, maybe they came up in the elevator?
Got a lift. Oh, this is my stop. Adam Nicholas will know that yesterday he went out for lunch and he's, as I say, he's isolating himself and he was in the break room.
Yes.
He saw this coming because he knows me. I walked out the security doors and crouched down and walked underneath the window where he was working and just did the old, and he just looked at me. Yeah, there he goes.
What's the Butterfinger line? First time he did the Butterfinger bit and he was like a bit
You need
tired.
to off. Yeah, I think was the exact line. This was where Tony D jumped into a car and tells his boy to head to the safe house.
Yeah.
He knows where it is as well.
Yeah.
He knows at this rate.
He's got a stacks tracker on his phone still.
Find my friend. Find my foe.
Stuff.
Miles Bourne versus Ethan Page. Real scary stuff, this, because as we said, a lot on the line. And it was a good story, though, in terms of like Ethan Page kind of taking him a bit lightly again, personified by the fact he got clotheslined out to the floor to take us to a break, and he was suddenly like, kid's got something about him.
Yeah.
But Page, as we come back, hits a superplex. Bourne comes back with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex and a nice-looking angle slam for 2. And Bourne's thing is obviously the drop kick. Page has got it scouted as a nice counter as, I've never seen it before, as they mentioned on commentary, as he goes for it, Ethan Page just sort of catches his legs and lets him hit the ground. He tries for the Ego's Edge, but Bourne gets out of that, tries for the Twisted Grin. That gets countered, and Bourne hits a drop kick. Jackknife pin, 1, 2, 3.
I wouldn't have booked this because, well, I was bored by it. So that's why I wouldn't have booked it.
I was terrified, so I was really into it. And normally I'm not that arse, I will say.
Well, there's the caveat, right? I liked that they played with the anxiety of letting you enjoy the moment last week of Miles Bourne getting this and then luxuriating it with a promo at the start of the show. And all of that was sort of fuel for this match. It was, to your point, that sense of nervousness that, hang on, does a loss mean that he's going to lose what we all feel like we're winning here?
Or the other thing I was doing in my head was, as you always say, what's Obafemi's best match?
A triple threat.
And I was like, they're going to pin him here.
Yeah.
And then they're going to do some shenanigans where like Charlie Dempsey moans and they complain. And I was just like, don't do any of that. Don't make it a triple threat so you can, I don't know, protect Ethan Page from getting pinned or whatever. Just do the one-on-one match. So I'm glad they did what they did. More relief maybe watching this match than anything.
No, that's fair enough. And that is earned by their storytelling. But I just thought the match was quite drab. And I was on a real high from that Miles Bourne promo. Like a real high. Authentically so, as I was actually from seeing him win last week. That was the surprise we were all calling for, is like, just go with somebody in this battle royal, and they have, and look at the benefits already. It's not particularly a knock on Miles Bourne or Ethan Page, but for me, they just had like one of these kind of like clandestine TV things, and I would have rather just spent the week with him on a high rather than being brought back down to earth with a. They all get headlocked in the end, don't they? Like
he's not going to do that against Overfem. He's going to get battered and then hit a desperation dropkick.
That's of a different flavour of that, I'm pretty sure.
We get a weird series of events next, but not one that I liked nonetheless, because it was a very polite challenge from Sean Legacy for a match against Javon Evans. I was like, I'd like to see that from the glimpses I've seen of him, as you mentioned, in the Battle Royal and what have you. And Javon's watching it in the locker room. And Adonisly, he's then confronted by Ashanti the Adonis, who says, shouldn't be giving those dickheads an Evolve any time of day. Javon's like, because I should say, Sean Legacy talks about the two of them, doing the miles, working the indies. And Evans says, I haven't forgot where I came from. A lot of dogs in the independent scene. And Ashanti's like, well, I'd smoke both of you. Ricky Sainz in the background. He's like, I like the sound of that. I want to go talk to Ava, and let's have that as a triple threat. Winner of me faces me the other side of NXT Battleground. You're grounded. Battlegrounded. But Mom, my glasses.
Yeah. Fine. Absolutely fine. Sean Legacy did make a bit of a name for himself last week, and I'm glad they're following up on that. It's funny that you can spend, a year maybe? And because there's always talent on the come up, there's always somebody biting at your heels. The friggin' 21-year-old, still so much to do and learn, Javon Evans is like, I'm kind of a veteran around here.
Yeah.
Like, I am interested to see the Javon Evans trajectory over the next couple of months based on the Twitter exchange with Ricochet as well. What are you looking at?
I just thought I'd Google it because I was like, I don't know how old Ashanti the Adonis is.
Okay.
32.
11 years older than Javon Evans.
But...
And 32's, I mean, he's in his 30s.
I was going to say, but better, we're all in our 30s. No. I'm in my 30s. Me and Ashanti are in our 30s.
Yeah.
I was about to say a better social media game than Javon Evans, although maybe not, after what he said recently. But it just, it's like typical the way that Google does stuff and AI and all that. It's like gorgeous picture of Ashanti the Adonis, age, height, cage match, and then just a bit from his Instagram. And this must be his most recent one. Do you want to read the post and what the picture accompanies it?
Oh no!
An absolute little lad.
Well, but hang on. Right, so he's got a picture. Shall I do the caption first?
Yeah, do you want me to describe the picture?
You describe the picture and I'll read the caption.
It's a picture of him with some lovely ladies.
There's 3 lovely ladies kissing on him, touching on him, presumably later to be sucking and f***ing on him. And he says, I'm like a cup holder, the way these dimes stick to me. And then there's 2 emojis. AA. What's that mean?
I don't know. It might be just not can't show it or whatever.
Emojis have changed.
I've seen. I've watched that Netflix show.
I'm too scared to watch. Yeah, Adolescence. And there's a lot of us idiot millennials or zennials or wherever it is that we fall behind the 8 ball, which probably means something in emoji if you use the 8 ball. Yeah, they're like, so does AA mean like it's sexual intercourse? As in the noise you make during sexual intercourse. That noise again, please. That's Wilbourn sexual intercourse noise of the week.
Yeah, I don't know what half this stuff means anymore.
No. It's bad, isn't it? Scary. We need to be up on that.
We were in Manchester with a mate and their kid's like 10, 11 years old, and he was having to explain everything to us.
It's a good, catch them while they're still not wanting to lie to you.
Skibbity toilet and all that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. How old's Eric now?
He is going to be 21 months old in a couple of days.
21 months, God. So in a year, he'll have his
21 months old.
In a year, he'll have his first phone, and then he'll be like, what's happened, yeah? Hey, Dad, go off.
I got a cameo for you right here.
That's what they do when they're 3.
Buying fake cameos. Hey, just paid yourself, dickhead. I've lost half the money to Cameo, actually. I've lost money on this exchange.
I was speaking to a mate of mine who's got a teenage son, a bit older, like 19, 18, 19. And basically she had to, this is going to make me sound so old. I don't care. Teach yourself Snapchat, because that was the way she realised she could continue to communicate with her son over his safety. You know, he started going out on the piss and things like that, and just like texts are not happening, WhatsApp's not happening, whatever. It's like, right, what do you use? It's like, well, Snapchat. And then I don't use Snapchat, so I could be getting the terminology wrong here, but there's like makes sense to me. Everything's numbers, right? Like he's like, like Mum, send us a picture, will you? Like we've got to keep the streak going. And the idea is you have to volley pictures back and forth in order to keep a streak on the go. And she's like, I don't give a shit about the streak. It's like 4 a.m. I don't know where you are. Like, so do I just send like an angry mom selfie being like, where are you? And he sends her back, well, I'm at the party.
I think send a picture of the bloke when Brock Lesnar pins Undertaker.
Get lost, Mom. Streak continued. Or a little flame emoji or something. Or just flame, young people. Have we got any? I don't know. So we got any young listeners? Because I feel like a lot of our demo skews broadly our demo. Like, is the fire emoji still a good thing, or does it mean like, I burned all my stuff? So it sucks, actually. That comment was so lame and so whack that you made me want to burn all my stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that what it means when somebody gives you a fire
Eggplant's still good. Tony D'Angelo, he arrives at the safe house, but it was a trap. He told his driver to go get the rest of the boys. And the moment he sort of steps onto the garden, the front garden of the safe house, he is jumped from behind by Stax, who nails him with a crowbar.
You out of your mind, crowbar?
Crowbar trumps everything, doesn't it?
Hang on.
No, brick.
Brick
would trump crowbar.
So brick-ass crowbar origin story.
Yes.
In the ECW arena.
Correct.
Jada Parker.
The best show ever's going to emanate from there, by the way, in the next, 6 months at least.
Yeah. Jada Parker was unsuccessful with the use of a brick.
Correct.
So then she tried to use her ace.
Successfully. And the only counter to that was someone trying to use a crowbar.
Somebody tried to use a crowbar on her.
So, yeah.
So crowbar trumps ace. Ass trumps brick.
Which means to close off that, it would be...
Brick is stronger than crowbar?
Brick beats crowbar.
Okay. Because one thing has to be... It's rock, paper, scissors.
Exactly.
But that's what the kids
Classic
are playing.
RPS.
Kids are playing B, A, C. Kids playing back. When I say, like, do you want to backs me that? Like, we think, oh, what, that money? No. I want to give him a brick-ass crowbar.
So he gets taken out, and he's laying there. Stack says... Wrong move, T.
So terrible voice. Marginally better now he's a heel, but like still not.
As you're underboss, I studied you. I know every move you're gonna make, T. Now look at you. A desperate time with no family, no best friend, no direction.
Tony puts up a tiny bit of a fight here. Yeah. He says, "Oh, Stax, you son of a..." Stax beats him down some more. Stax says,
"Tony, you're not the only one here with the stroke. I'm Jeff Jarrett. I humiliated you at Stand and Deliver by choice.
You're talking Jack Russell.
Look at me. At Battleground, you're grounded. Battlegrounded. But, Mom, I finished the Don, putting that to the D'Angelo family. Once and for all."
The XL bully that like stands on its butt.
He's all contorted.
Yeah.
In fact, sorry, that's just reading through, just reliving what I witnessed there, and like, flashbacks to that's really affecting me. I'm gonna need a minute actually. So you
do what? What?
Give us your thoughts on this and where it's headed, and I'm gonna go and compose myself. I'll be right back and make sure everything's settled over here.
Yeah. I need that. Thoughts on that? Yeah, it's. I'll say this for Stacks, right? And I'm not just saying this because he's a colleague that sometimes pops in. Fingers crossed, I won't have to see him today. It really hurt my head last week. He always has a lot of information to remember, and he does his reasonable job of reciting it. If you recall, the final segment of The Family Together was him explaining in massive amounts of detail about Dark State's collegiate football history. Here, he was very willing to go through all of his motivations and intent and things like that. And I have to admire that about Stacks as a performer. I will give him that. He knows how to recite his lines. But I don't want to... Hey, Stacks.
What the hell is everybody?
Just me today, Stacks.
Yeah, that was too far last week. I apologize profusely.
That's okay, Stacks. I knew there was some good in you. I knew the last couple of times... Like yesterday when you came in and last week. Speaking of JC Shane. You've had a bit, if you don't mind me saying, a little bit.
I'm getting tips from JC Shane and Nikita Lyons.
You had a bit of an edge. So
I'm a minute. People are saying I'm a minute.
That's what everybody's saying. I feel like the ice is melting, and I like that. It's nice. And whatever happened in Vegas. It's been a couple of weeks. I didn't love your actions last night, your actions, but with us, we're boys. We've been doing podcasts now for years.
Absolutely.
You didn't turn on this family, did you?
Indeed, and some nice words to say to you three yesterday.
Yeah.
Mothers.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget how cruel you were about our mothers? NXT preview, audio only.
But as I said,
still puts it on.
Wearing the red and black, but like the red and white of Sunderland. What's the deal with Sunderland?
Sunderland, Stacks, is the greatest city on earth, which is lucky for me because I get to live there. Or just outside of it.
You're lucky that Chesterfield's a town.
You got any links to Chesterfield, Stacks?
Just seem to like the place. We got problems here, but
I'm a Spire guy.
Not disrespect that beautiful goddamn town.
It's got a nice Spire. Got a nice Spire and a great club. Taxi.
BK.
Taxi in the middle. BK.
VK.
I thought you said a BK. It's got a Spire, a club, and a BK. That's it. Yeah, it does say home of VK. Sunderland is the home of many things that I care deeply about. Sunderland, it's in me blood, even though I wasn't even born there. And it's in the blood of my blood. It's in the blood of my dick, which produces semen, which produces two of my children who were both born in Sunderland. Because that's how people describe having kids, Stacks. I chose to move to Sunderland on account of being a Sunderland fan because of familiar links to the football team that do wear red. It's their rivals that wear black stripes. So you've kind of you're half right, but you're just as wrong. But we'll let that go. Yes, it's got kind of a reputation of being a forgotten city in the wake of Margaret Thatcher's closure of almost all of its industry in the 80s. I bet you probably like her these days, knowing your latest choices.
Even I don't draw the line there. That bitch can rot in hell.
Good. I knew we were boys, Stacks. But it's kind of rebounded from that by becoming a fantastic university city. It's a university that I graduated from in journalism. I mean, Adam Wilbourn. He taught me everything he knows about the business rather than a stupid degree. But it's got a kind of a cult music scene that has produced bands historically, often from some of the poverty and the difficult times, an art system that thrives. And when times are good for the football team, the city kind of grows with it. Naturally, tourism is better. There's more people spending money. There's more people enthusiastic about everything. And times have been pretty tough for the football team over the last 10 years specifically while they've been out of the Premier League, which you sometimes probably get to watch early in the morning over in Florida. But just last night, Sunderland, my team, the reason I moved to that city where I met my wife and the blood of my penis forced it to engorge and subsequently ejaculated semen inside her and created two children. Adele watches this. What am I doing? ultimately like sort of has become my home, even though I wasn't born there. It is a place I'm proud to. Sunderland is a place that I am deeply, deeply proud to call home.
Good to know. This Kevin Phillips fella?
A folk hero in Sunderland. Again, somebody not born in Sunderland, but loves it and is loved there.
Funny
on account of his scoring record for Sunderland.
I actually heard he went into a sperm bank recently and said he'd like to donate some sperm. Some little Kevin Phillips running around, maybe with the first team soon. And the receptionist says, certainly, sir. Have you donated before? He said, yes, of course I have. You probably have my details on your computer. She looks it up. Oh, yes, sir, I found your details, she says. But I see here you're going to need a little bit of help. Shall I call your wife for you? And Kevin was like, why do I need help? The receptionist says, it says on your record you're a useless wanker. 3 jokes, 3 questions about Sunderland. Question joke number 1. Hey, what do Black Cats fans use as birth control?
Well, Black Cat's nicknamed Sunderland, for those that don't know. Condoms for the men, pills for the lady. But that's not a punchline. Is there anything in coil? Because that was how you would pronounce curl. Set up again, please.
What do Black Cats fans use as birth control?
I know you haven't said Sunderland. You said Black Cats fans. And Stax is a bastard these days. I've got nobody here. I don't know, Stax.
What do Black Cats fans use as birth control? Their personalities. Question joke number 2.
You know, Wilbourn, something I'm going to mention here. Anybody that watched the Dynamite review that we did in Vegas before we got into the proper wrestling. It was Wednesday. We'd been up 30 hours. And Wilbourn, you know Wilbourn. You see him on the Tuesdays. He
certainly know his mother.
Something that I am now forever going to know is the lovely ladies cheat, where he just kept saying it in this desperation for a pop, and he would get one over and over again. It's funny. Just sometimes you two really remind me of each other. Sorry, just...
Obviously took that photo, though, before, so we clearly not the same goddamn person.
That's correct. Well, I never said that. I would never say that.
Christmas photo, of course, we had as well.
Yep, that's 2 photos.
Better times. What is the difference, Hamflett, between a Sunderland fan and a bucket of
these are harder to call since you've become a bastard. What's the difference between a Sunderland fan and a bucket of shit? Nothing, Hamflett.
Good night, right? What's the difference between a Sunderland fan and a bucket of crap? I'll give Willie less work to do.
Yeah.
The bucket. Question joke number 3. Question joke number 3, Hamlet. We all got places to be. How do you castrate a Sunderland supporter?
Whoa, okay. Castrate a Sunderland supporter. So the gag is going to be at the Sunderland supporter's expense. And castration is about the removal of the penis, and it's going to be something to do with the size of the penis, because even when you were a nice guy, before you became a bastard, you sure were filthy. How do you... with nail clippers and a magnifying glass.
Good night, right?
Okay.
How do you castrate a Sunderland supporter? Kick his sister in the mouth. See you later, guys.
Bye, Stax.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, Wilbourn.
Yeah, what's happening
all right?
here? Sorry, I was just wiping my eyes. Upset.
You're upset?
Yeah, with the way the things went on.
Oh,
with it.
yeah. Stax knocked a chair over. He's a real bastard lately.
Is he?
Yeah. He's still got that glint in his eye.
Oh, yeah, always.
It's far more sardonic than it used to. And you know, like how, you know, on the Tuesdays when you always see him, and there's always like a good old laugh and a chuckle amongst friends. Mm-hmm. I can't help feeling like he's laughing at us.
Like a sinister laugh.
Rather than with us now, yeah.
Thea Hale versus Tatum Paxley was next. So I assume you get any further on NXT?
No, we didn't move it along, so yeah.
I did like Tatum's running, flipping famouser during this match.
Yeah.
But we don't need to go into it too much, apart from Thea Hale basically beating her up going, what's your problem? She goes for a Kimura, Paxley gets the ropes, goes for it again, and then Tatum Paxley is fully snapped at this point and tries to blind Thea Hale, goes to the eyes, and the ref just calls at that point. This wasn't a thumb to the eye, this was a gouging.
Yeah, trying to get her holding her face while she did it. And like, she has to use both hands because Thea Hale's a grown-ass woman. So she's like really pressing down.
Randomly saw the clip from Game of Thrones that has this in.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible flashbacks.
It's grim, isn't it? You ever seen Thea Hale? It's like, I don't follow Thea Hale, but like wrestling related stuff will be in my For You all the time. And like, to be honest, when I'm on a public train, thank God it's wrestling stuff. Plenty of like bodies that aren't wearing many clothes on that thing. It has nothing to do with the things that you search on the internet.
Definitely not.
It's not algorithm controlled. The coffee hunt that she goes on. You ever seen these?
Nope.
Just watch them and come back to me. Thea Hale goes hunting for coffee. It's, I don't know. It's just a strange vibe. Sometimes I want to know less about wrestlers.
Okay.
Let's just say that.
But yeah, I like the finish of this of just like, I know how to get a Kimura, blind my opponent.
Yeah. Wasn't much else to this really. Like Tatum Paxley, they can't do this. She's gone mad because it's like, she's gone mad. Boo her instead of cheering.
Mad-er.
She's always been mad.
Yeah. We go to the, we saw during this that Jada Parker was watching this match and Kalani Jordan comes in and Jada Parker wants nothing to do with her. Kalani's not happy. There's Sol Ruka, the Women's North American champion, obviously, and Zarya. Not happy with Zarya spearing her through a barricade last week. And she says, is it because you're threatened or because you're just jealous that Sol caught me? A little something going on there. Zarya. Sol apologizes, but Zarya's like, we don't need to apologize to her. I beat you fair and square. Kalani can bitch all she wants, says Zarya. Results don't change. Kalani says, all right, then let's run it back next week. If I win, I get a shot at her title. And Zarya's like, yeah, right. And as she's saying that, Sol goes, fair enough. Problems for Sol and Zarya.
Yeah. Not too dissimilar if you break it down from the other backstage women's segments. But, like, Kalani Jordan has got a bit of credit in the bank. Actually, all three of them do. Sol Ruka's a fighting champion, all that kind of stuff. So just the stakes are a little bit higher, at least.
Then we got a very intense contract signing segment. Joe Hendry, TNA champion, and Trick Williams. Ava's there to mediate all of this, and she thanks them both for being there. She hasn't got to say she's Rock Daughter, general manager of NXT and mediator of this TNA contract signing. She thanks them for coming. Says first time at a WWE PLE, the TNA World title is going to be on the line.
I'd like to do this bit if I may.
Go on.
In the absence of Cedric, who does do the best Ava impression. The TNA World title that has been held by such luminaries as AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, somebody else within the system I forgot, LA Knight, and Bubba Ray Dudley.
Take it again.
It's like
We're live.
Just do it again.
Yeah.
Just do it. And like if you're not sure, double check. He's probably in the next room doing something with Undertaker.
Also, LA Knight never held the TNA World title.
Vulva Ray.
Did he?
No.
Eli Drake?
Eli Drake was the Impact World Champion for a bit, I think.
It wasn't LA Knight. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it all happens at Battleground.
I suppose it wasn't Vulva Ray, was it? It was Vully Ray at that point. So like, he was Vully Ray.
I can't comment on these sorts of things. And Trick says, you took my opportunity, Joe. What's the most important to me? So I'm going to take what means the most to you. The TNA title, you should have stayed in your sweet spot. You were the man in TNA, but next Sunday you're going to Battleground, and that is my house. And Joe says, look, if anyone knows about breaking out and taking risks, having the confidence to do or be more, it's you. But somewhere along the way you lost that. You forgot it, and instead you're bitching about what you deserve or what you should have handed to you. And Trick Williams fires up, I can hand you an ass whooping right now. Ava says, look, I don't care who did what. Security's right outside. Don't make me call him in here. Sit down and sign this. Joe says, look, TNA's the hottest it's been for years. That's because of me. Every morning I wake up, my goal is to make this the biggest brand it could possibly be, and that means me as champion. I've defended this TNA title against TNA wrestlers, NXT superstars. I put them all down. Don't you understand that next Sunday the TNA World Championship will be on the line on the WWE PLA? Do you understand how big that is? And Trick's like, of course, I know, and it's because I'm in the match. The match is going to be historic because of me. And you need to realize something. You're a social media sensation, but Trick Williams, he's bigger than NXT, bigger than TNA. Hell, I'm bigger than both of them combined. I'm Hollywood Trick. The truth is that every man has his 15 minutes of fame except for me. And next Sunday, I'm going to take your fame, I'm going to take your title, and I'm going to take your brand. And he signs the contract. I like that. Boom, boom, boom. 3 big hits there. And Joe fires back by saying, look, you main evented Stand Deliver back-to-back consecutive years. This isn't maybe not the biggest match of your career, but it's the most important because you're at a crossroads. There's no way back for you to the NXT title. And after I beat you for this, the TNA title goes away again. And that's when the doubt creeps in. And you can see this is sort of getting to Trick Williams as he's saying this because he's kind of speaking the truth. You'll find out that as fast as your star rose to the top, it's going to come crashing back down. And if anyone's going to find out what their 15 minutes of fame like is like when it expires, it's Trick Williams. And Joe Hendry signs the contract. I really like this.
I thought it was fake crap.
Okay.
But that's what reviews are for. Difference of opinions. I didn't like this one bit. I didn't think it suited the pre-tape like staging at all. I don't like. I thought the camera cuts and just the way it was shot and produced really undermined what they were going for. There was a sort of a sense that like every now and then, how this worked for anybody that didn't watch it, one of the wrestlers would have to say a line that would like come this close to making the other one jump them. So there was a point where like, I can't remember what point it fit into there, where like Trick Williams was like, well, yeah, Randy Orton kicked your ass in 3 minutes at WrestleMania,
yes.
didn't he? And Joe was kind of like spring-loaded for that, but then Ava sat him back down again. And that was the idea. Like every time there was this big hitter line, other wrestler kind of wanted to swing, but he didn't, and it just about kind of held it. And the idea was it was supposed to be hair trigger tension. That would have been so much more effective in the ring because the fans will give it the U's and the R's and the building.
Yeah, it was weird to do it backstage.
And it almost like the backstage element and the pre-taped element, and even if they were trying to present it as live, it was like the camera cuts and the footage made it feel taped.
Yeah.
And it made it feel a lot more like sterile. And if a fight had broke out, you'd still feel a little bit distanced from it. So I didn't really buy the hatred. And I just didn't like the material one bit. I don't like... I think they asked Joe Hendry to thread an impossible needle here. Like, again, because it was pre-taped, you could almost imagine him having to cut this promo in the ring and how on earth he can say this credibly. He was like, I'm the TNA world champion. And like, I want to make this belt that, and then like, there's like a freeze frame, Zach Morris. You can't say the biggest belt in wrestling, can you?
Yeah.
Like, because you're in WWE. You can't even say the biggest belt in WWE because you're in NXT. It's at best a bronze medal. But you can't call it a bronze medal because you're presenting this match as history.
Yeah.
You present this match as like history in the making, a first time ever, potentially the main event of Battleground. Your grounded Battleground. But man, like that's impossible. So then he kind of has to, and he doesn't stutter, by the way.
No.
You don't, there's no delay, but your brain, you know when you talk about how like in a 2 count, you're fantasy booking the next 6 months of a wrestler, my brain was doing that, where it's like all those thoughts condensed into one tiny like Peter Griffin scream, trying to say the alphabet, like that. And then he says, the best it can be. And that's proper like, like threads. Do you know, I'm going to make the TNA belt, the best it can be. And that's not his fault.
No.
That's the fault of this.
I'll be the most popular person on Blue Sky.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I'll be the most popular person if I can be. It's not ammunition with which to brag. And it's that problem when you have this have your cake and eat it too booking. And I still don't like Prick Williams. Still. Like I will give.
He's definitely the heel in this.
He is the heel. I just don't particularly like him in the spot. And I don't think I just don't think I believe the tension between them. And I can't really fault the performances. I would have just done so many different things here. And maybe I'll be pining for this because next week is a big old swing. Like a big swing.
And that's just you and him, don't forget.
What?
I am businessman.
Oh, God.
Business daddy next week. I'm off to the
Next
podcast
week.
show in London. If anyone's going, we'd love to see you there on Wednesday and Thursday. So unfortunately, no AEW for me, no. But also, sadly, no NXT because this lineup looks incredible.
If you're at the podcast show if you're in the industry or if you're just going along and you bump into Wilbourn, grass him up. If he's like, I'm Adam Wilbourn, I do the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast. Oh, did you do it with anybody? No, I can do it by myself.
yeah.
I'm kind of a one-man band of a wrestling podcast. It's really good.
Never do that to you boys or to Nicholas.
Definitely know the J-Brones involved in this.
Joe Hendry live in concert, a rap performance by Trick Williams. Can already say 5 stars from me for both of those. Kalani Jordan versus Zarya and a triple threat. Sean Legacy, Javon Evans, and Ashanti the Adonis. Jesus Christ.
Joe Hendry concert versus Trick Williams rap battle is just like death or glory stuff.
Glory.
Joe Hendry, like, virality has been currency in like a literal sense. Not only has it like made him some not insignificant fortune in wrestling. You saw his signing cues for the Sweet Chin Disco, let alone the WrestleMania booking. But it has kind of been what has propelled him to, like, it's not fair wrestling. Like, they are not talking too much about the 10 years plus of the hard yards in professional and amateur wrestling that Joe Hendry has put in the work. They are talking about him doing a spin move and getting a song in the charts and everything like that. But, like,
he's on Van Vliet recently, I think.
Yeah.
I saw a great clip of him on there.
It is a genuinely, like, remarkable story. But for whatever reason, they don't like his covers in NXT, do they? It's like original songs, please.
Yeah.
So it's
original pirate material.
You're listening to Hendry, lock down your aerials. Like, it's going to have to be,
Has he come to this?
And
it's supposed to be so easy.
Don't mug yourself, Trick.
Good.
Having that.
Yeah.
Well, like, next week,
Hold it down, boy. Your head's getting smashed.
It's all right. Next week, with you absent and me having to record and probably host, I'll have Computers and Blues.
Oh my God.
The best album of 2020, 2011's Computers and Blues.
Yeah.
Did a lot of work on me in the pandemic, that album did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that could go horribly wrong.
Oh, well, I'll just say it's great regardless. easy job for me, innit?
All right.
And I don't have to watch Dynamite. Double win for me.
I'll be down at the podcast show going, don't listen to today's. Not this one.
No, and we're selling our souls to corporate sponsors. So that's what I'll be
Yes, please. Said it before. Say it again. Say it every opportunity I can get away with it. Just like at the podcast show next week, just like in New Orleans next April, we are open for business.
Speaking of selling your soul, Sean Spears, well, actually, before Sean Spears, Briggs is backstage. Hank and Tank walk up with I can't remember what he exactly said, but I'm fairly certain it said Hong Kong Fighting Spirit.
It did. It was Hong Kong Fight Club.
Fight Club, that was it.
Hong Kong Fight Club, yeah.
Oh my
Get me one of
God.
them.
There were 2 noises about Fight Club. Noise number 1, honk. Noise number 2, honk.
Rule number 1, you do not. No, you do honk.
Do honk. Rule number 2, you honk again.
The second honk. But they're commiserating with Briggs. Obviously, he's lost in Amora, who's gone back to Japan. And he said, look, it was his brother. Yes, he was annoyed that they kept losing, but he wasn't trying to push him away. Hank and Tank sort of, he'll be all right, mate. In walks Sean Spears. He says, Briggs, you don't know you've got till it's gone. Briggs is like, piss off. He's like, hey, I wasn't talking about Inamura. I was talking about Jansen. It's happening. It's happening. Hopefully they get back together.
Fallon's unhappy with JC Jane.
Oh, it's all coming together.
It is.
Told you this is a great show.
Yeah.
He called Briggs a cancer. Never like when people get called that.
Throw that around.
Tank says, hey, it's not the time or place.
Yes, it was yes.
Honk, it's not the time or place. And Spears says that Briggs should change before it consumes him and he explodes.
Got a picture of Sean Spears. The one thing that would improve when he kind of like layers into shot, sometimes the camera has to pan and he's already there. I would like to see him come into shot on like a Segway without the stem. So like he's got the little wheels, like a hoverboard.
Yeah.
That's what so it's just, it looks like he's just drifted into shot, arms there.
But yeah, he said, I don't need your wisdom, Spears, but I've got a good idea on how to clear my head. And I went, if you go to that fucking bar,
Oh my God.
I'll lose my mind.
I think that's it.
Remind me to mention that on the preview next week, which I will be here for. I will be seated. As if it can get any better, I've just remembered another thing that's coming next week. Kale Dixon, Uriah Connor's there with Ava. They're ready for some competition. Chase Hughes back in business, baby. And it's revealed, as Mr. Chase walks in with his nice new fit.
Is that supposed to be as tight as it is?
I don't know. I thought that. I was like, that's me putting a t-shirt on after the pandemic.
I was just gonna say,
Jesus Christ, this is shrunk.
it's not me judging. Half of my stuff, I've said before, makes me look like a relief map. But like, it just... Mulligan and O'Hare by Reese and Mortimer, where they've got like intentional titties. They're wearing the super tight.
It wasn't very flattering. Yeah. And
I'm not body shaming. I couldn't decide if it was like some sort of bit because they got him it. And like the one, like, have you seen friggin' Andre Chase under there?
Yeah,
like he's doing all right. He's doing better than I ever will. My stupid fat ass. But I just thought that's striking.
But yeah, they're like, Mr. Chase, we've got our first match next week. He's like, who against? And they're like, good point. Who against, Ava? She goes, a returning OTM. And Chase goes, guys, what the f? I love it when he swears.
Chase Hugo and like, oh, both. Oh no, this is the one thing we didn't want to happen.
I know, a tag team who's completely rusty and hasn't had a match in about 6 months.
Yeah,
but we'll preview that next week. There's so much stuff.
Chase, you were back.
Yes.
Chase 2.0.
And then I know what you're thinking. Adam, you mentioned the trifecta. Obviously, we've had the great promo that opened the show. Had the great angle. Stacks Trick and Tony D to go to the safe house, kick his ass, challenging for NXT Battleground. A massive match. And yes, that is my first bullet point. Thank you very much. Where's the great match? Oh, choo-choo. Here it comes down the line. It's Stephanie Vaquer and Jordan Grace teaming up against Fatal Influence. No representation from Jasmine Nix here. It was, of course, just Fallon Henley and JC Jane. I'll say that again. It was of Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley and JC Jane. Grace is in control because it's Jordan Grace early on. Backdrops, Henley, clotheslines there, but Vaquer. I'll take it from here. Thank you very much. Can they coexist?
I'm trying. Sure, I'm trying.
JC Jane looked great. And Fallon Henley always looks great. I feel like I don't need to put her over, but JC Jane hit the pump kick she was hitting in these matches.
Was this you enjoy UFC? Was this a shoot fight?
I don't know.
They were kicking the out of each other in this match.
It's great, wasn't it?
Like, you couldn't put a piece of paper through the connection on some of these shots.
It was awesome.
Super, like, that was my big takeaway from this. Like, well worked. You know the sequences that are going to get you to how the baby faces win. There's a nice little twist, I would say.
Somersault sent on off the apron from Jane. Henley springboard off the middle rope to take us to a break as the heels take over.
Proper isolating, like identifying that both baby faces are big threats. So you got to break them down, isolate them. We always use the Shield 6-man as a comparison. That's what they were doing. This was good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. When we come back from the break, JC hits a huge pump kick. There was several in here that looked great from her. But eventually, Vaquer, who's been in trouble, gets over to Grace. Hot tag, she cleans house. Throws JC into Fallon. Spinebusters JC. DVD to Fallon. Forearm to the face. Cover. JC breaks it up. Henley comes back with a tornado vertical suplex on Grace. That looked lovely as well. All 4 women get involved. Jane again. Wham! Pump kick to Stephanie Vaquer. There's the leg sweep DDT combo to Grace. Jane then super kicks Vaquer. Henley drags her back into the ring. They set her up for the big finish. The running enziguri knee strike. And Grace pushes her out of the way and takes the bullet for her, but kicks out. Grace then blocks the double team, rolling encore thing that they do. Hits Henley with a back elbow. Headbutts her, spinning back fist. Beast mode. 1, 2, 3. And there's a nice stare down post match between the two of them.
Yeah, a really good piece of business. This has anyone ever took the chin that late on beast mode, quite like JC Jane? That was unbelievable. Like you honestly watched that with and she's nailed it. The point of that is that you could not be more. Couldn't be more perfect. Like massive coup. JC Jane was in the mood, and I don't know if there's like some sort of chemistry thing with Jordan Grace where there's a bit of magic there because them two in particular really had something. Really like the agent in here. Liked it a lot of how like sort of the partnering of Fatal Influence who are falling apart but understand the assignment.
Yeah.
Proper stars in this singles main event. Again, said it about their singles build. The point is that you are telling the audience with chests out that these are the best 2 on the show. So you can book a match like this. You know, they're a superpower tag team effectively. And then that allows for the Jordan Grace kick out. It allows for the viewer to question aloud, well, Stephanie Vaquer took that, would she have been done?
Yeah.
Jordan Grace survived it. And not only did she survive it, she was willing to do it and suffer in the run-up to this match for Stephanie and still think she can win. Staring at the belt stuff at the end, you can't really get away with that because he just ended Raw with it.
I saw Sidge talking about this, and I disagree because not in a bit genuinely. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Draw comparisons to Io Sky and Rhea Ripley.
Okay,
one's got the power game, one's got the in-ring edge, arguably, and there's no bad thing in people thinking, Jesus, you got two of these incredible women's matches on the horizon.
Yeah, maybe that's an interesting take. I'd like to see you have that out with him, and he'll tell you why.
Oh, I'm sure he'll put me in my place quite right.
Why he hates that.
Yeah.
But that's a reasonable
I understand, yeah, people may think that's just very lazy.
I think it's a bit lazy, but I get that. Stephanie Vaquer, because
it's not, Jordan Grace isn't looking at it like, well, we're mates. She's got the title match.
Yeah.
Rhea hasn't.
Clock's ticking sort of thing, yeah.
I get it. Ricky Saints got killed backstage by Ethan Page during all this as well.
Yes, that was how they closed the show, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, actually, they cut back awkwardly for them to stare again at each other.
Do the pose again. We did 7 Wrestlers Theory. Is that podcast out on the feed?
It is available right now. We've done Michael Sidgwick. That was from a few weeks back. We've done Michael Hamflett. We will be doing Adam Nicholas, hopefully. I didn't hear a no. And the whole host of the WhatCulture Wrestling crew on this, because I really like it, and it may be in about 3 months when people are like, what the hell's this 7 Wrestlers Theory? Wasn't that from like last year or something?
Yeah.
But I do like it as a sort of snapshot of all the teams.
I loved recording it. Like, I'll happily do yours when you want to come around and have yours as your 7 wrestlers. I mean, it's just 7 times talking about The Rock, isn't it? But we'll do it anyway.
Yeah, maybe Tony Deal sneak in there.
Had I not landed on Liv Morgan for my current favourite, I think it'd be Stephanie Vaquer. Yeah. I am just honestly mesmerised by how she sells without selling. What's going on?
Yeah, she's amazing.
She, obviously, fantastic on offense. There's not a lot she can't do at the moment, really. And the entrance, the character presentation, it has really all come together in rapid fashion. Main roster ready, the whole deal. We knew this pretty much from when she arrived. But yeah, in the body of the match, she was taking quite a bit of the offense here for Jordan to get the hot tag and look like the savior figure. And she just bumps so enthusiastically and so well. And then she's like the opposite of a WWE trainee, because every time she does, move the hair, catch the hard camera, whatever it is, and the whole thing is you're supposed to reach, if you're the babyface, you're supposed to reach through the screen, emote and all that sort of stuff. She does the opposite and it's better.
Yeah.
That mannequin expression when she must be blowing out her ass, having been out there.
She can't. It's impossible to gas her, I think.
Either an amazing engine or an amazing ability to mask the engine. It's fantastic.
Really strong breathing through the nose.
And if you're on offense on her, that's got to eat away. Yeah. Why are you not in more trouble? Why are you not suffering? It's honestly, it's a skill, but it's also a massive benefit to the matches as well. Just a proper captivating. Man, her and Liv Morgan, right there. I wanted to meet. It's honestly fantastic.
Yeah, and a fantastic NXT. Let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. Don't forget to share, subscribe, all that good stuff, of course. You can let us know your thoughts as well on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch they can follow all 3 of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow our brilliant producer Adam Nicholas at It's Adam Nicholas. If you can't hear that from the other room, you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from, for daily wrestling podcasts. The Dynamite preview is available right now, but for now, the NXT review is what you've just watched. That's how I say this at the end of the podcast, apparently. My thanks to Michael Hamflett, to Stax, I suppose. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Thanks for watching what you just watched.